What's up, photo booth family? Your Uncle Drew, and in this video we're talking about photo booth setup tips that'll save you time and embarrassment. I'm the perfect person to make this video because I have made plenty of mistakes when it comes to setup, and trust me, this is a really important video. So to save you time, setup tips to save you time would be obviously number one, come early, right? If you think it's going to take you 30 minutes to set up your photo booth, I highly recommend you show up at least an hour ahead of time. That way, if you have any mistakes or any issues, you have that time. Some other tips to save you time would be always try to get the location of where the photo booth will be set up ahead of time. So if you're just willy-nilly showing up to an event, not knowing anything, it's going to save you some time because you may be looking for the person in charge, maybe they're not available, but if you have already, hey, can you send me a layout? You can speak to the client. If the client has a wedding planner, then the wedding planner or event coordinator or even the venue ahead of time can give you a map layout and pinpoint where you're setting up. But if you're just showing up, I promise you, it's really confusing, and it'll save you time. Also, preparing ahead of time would be also asking your client for the Wi-Fi info for the venue. I'm not saying that you're always going to use the Wi-Fi, right? Because we're professionals. We bring our own source of internet first. But just in case yours doesn't work, you're going to want to try theirs, last case scenario. And it's a better idea to have this info ahead of time. And it's super annoying to hire somebody the day of, they're asking you 1,000 questions while you're trying to deal with something else. So this, I guess, would save you time, but also it would save you embarrassment. Another setup trick and tip is bring your own everything. I just talked about bringing your own internet because you can't rely on your client for that. Also bring your own shade. That would be a freaking tent, right? Like a canopy just in case they don't have shade for you. And bring your own power. Jackery Explorer 1000 is what I recommend. And I get it. Most people will end up using what their clients are providing, but just don't rely on it. This will save you time and embarrassment because think about it. I know I say this and it sounds bad, but the photo booth is the least important thing. The freaking people that are hiring you are dealing with the catering company. Food is way more important. They're dealing with the DJ, right? Music and entertainment is more important. The dance floor, dessert table, bartender. So they have a lot on their plate. And I know as business owners, we want to feel like, yeah, what we offer is super important, and it is, but it's at the bottom of the list. But yes, definitely bring your own everything. Also, make sure you're getting paid ahead of time. If they're paying you electronically, get it before you even leave. We like to require electronic payments a week before the event because the last thing I want to do is embarrass myself and have to bug somebody to pay me at their party. And I'll tell you a quick little story. The reason why I implemented getting paid before we even start setup is because there was a time where I did a wedding and I wasn't paid. The event coordinator was like, the bride's going to pay you. And I literally had to bug the bride on the day of her wedding. And I took about 8 to 10 minutes of her time. She's trying to figure out Zelle. And it was a nightmare, which 8 to 10 minutes doesn't sound like a lot of time. But in your wedding, it's like 3 hours. It's a long time, right? So make sure you're getting paid ahead of time. And if you're collecting cash, right? A lot of us like to get paid cash. Make sure you get paid in cash before you even unload anything. This brings me to my next tip and trick is finding out where you're going to unload and where you can park and the whole parking situation. It's embarrassing if it's really embarrassing. It's embarrassing to me when I see photo booth owners literally parking in a parking lot and not knowing that there's actually a loading zone and hauling your equipment when you don't have to, right? Just always get into the habit of saying to either the client or if the client is, having their event at a venue, see if they can talk to the venue or if you can get into contact with the venue, ask for, hey, what's the parking situation? Is there a loading zone? Do I have to pay for valet? Things like that are going to save you money too, because you may, and I've done this in the past where I'm not asking about the parking situation. And when I show up, I have to pay valet. Little do I know is that I didn't have to pay for valet. I've probably done this 3 or 4 times before I made it like a thing. So always ask where you're loading, parking situation. So that's super important. Another tip and trick I can give you guys is when you set up your photo booth and everything is ready to go, to save any embarrassment of not having your setup be perfect in the client's eyes is having the person in charge before the event starts come to the photo booth. You show them everything, the distance, the lighting, do a test photo with them, because in your head, you may feel like I have all the knowledge. The photo booth should be this far back, but the client may want something else. So it's always good to make sure that you're showing them what it's going to be like if you can. Obviously, not every event will allow you to do this, but if you can, let them pick and choose the distance and the placing of certain things. That way, there's no room for error, if that makes any sense. Another tip and trick is to have backups of everything. In a perfect world, if we all had extra money laying around, you should have a backup printer, backup iPad, backup light, everything. But most of us don't, right? And if you don't, my suggestion is just have backups of the affordable things, like extension cord, a backup power strip, backup, cable for your iPad, backup ring light, whatever you can that's affordable, because there's nothing worse than not being able to provide service and embarrassing yourself over an $8 item, right? If it's my printer and you don't have a backup, then guess what? You can live with that. You could still do a digital event, but like if your extension cord is bad and nothing is having power, like it's a big deal. So have backups if possible. This next one is probably something you weren't expecting me to say, but uniform. Have some type of uniform, or just make sure whatever you're wearing gives the vibe that you're here to work. Because if you just show up, let's just say like in the shirt that I'm wearing and you're like setting up, it could be a problem because they're not going to know who you are, especially if you're in certain venues and you're going through like employee sections and all of that. To them, you're just some person. But if you have a uniform that has your name on it, a company name, then it's apparent you're there to work. Also, too, I have a story. I did a drop-off one time, and I showed up to the party late at night at someone's house to pick up my equipment. I wasn't in the safest area, so I'm rolling up, and there's about 4 or 5 dudes, straight from the movies, right? Like prison style. And I'm going in to get my stuff, and they all walk up to me like, "Hey man, what are you doing here? Like, who are you?" Rightfully so. I'm just some 6'3", 350-pound dude with a black bag, and I'm like, "Oh, I'm here for the photo booth," and I like point to it. I'm like, "I'm here to pick it up," and they're like, "Oh, okay, man." But like, I probably wouldn't be in that position if I had company info, a shirt, whatever. And now whenever I roll into a party, I always make sure I have a business card in my pocket. That way, it's kind of like a little ID badge, right? So if anyone questions me, I'm like, boom, this is who I am. So yes, definitely have a uniform or something that just kind of shows that you're there working. And a trick to save you guys some time is to utilize your space as much as possible when it comes to things that you're not using. Like if you're having a prop table and your prop table has like a skirt on it, then I'd recommend maybe putting the case for your photo booth under the prop table, or, the backdrop bag. That way you don't have to take it all the way back to your car. You just have it right there. That'll save you like a ton of time. If there's no space under your prop table, then maybe ask the venue or your client, like, "Hey, is there a closet in here or something that you can use?" That way you're not like making those unnecessary trips to the car and back. Another trick and tip here, right? Get a door stopper. It sounds so stupid, right? To be like, yeah, door stopper. But there's a lot of venues that have a plethora. You like that word, plethora? I just read that in the dictionary. A plethora of doors. And if you're hauling in a wagon and a photo booth, it gets really difficult to open these doors and to keep them open. So a little door stopper goes a long way. You can find them on Amazon for like $5, or you could probably makeshift one, I don't know, out of a piece of wood if you don't want to buy one. But they're super cheap and they're lifesavers. Not to mention wagon. Oh my gosh. A wagon's even more important than a door stopper. A good wagon will allow you to put your prop table, your prop bin, your jackery, and a handful of other things, right? Even for my printer, I use my wagon. So get yourself a good wagon. And if you don't have a wagon and you're taking in your items piece by piece, which I used to do, it'll take forever. So a wagon, door stopper, and last but not least, when we're talking about items, a little 2-prong to 3-prong adapter. There's some old venues that don't have the new outlets that have 3 prongs. They have 2. So on Amazon, you can buy one. They're like $5, and it'll allow you to put the 2-prong adapter in the outlet then use your extension cord or plugs that have 3 prongs. Lifesaver. I have done events in the past where I wasn't able to get to power because I wasn't informed about the outlet. So what I had to do is I literally had to like bug the DJ for me to go onto his power because he had his own stuff. But get one of those things. I promise you it's a lifesaver, and it's only $5. Thank you so much for watching, and remember, go to photobooth101.com to get all of your photo booth equipment. We have mentorship, we have the best photo booths, backdrops in the game. We have it all. photobooth101.com. Thanks for watching. God bless. See you soon.